Hello, everyone. So we're back again, and this time with Ingmar Kikat, aka Ingu from Kion Dojo. Hi, Ingmar. How you doing?
Hi, Joao. Nice to meet you.
How's the weather in Germany?
Uh, I think similar as Scotland, like very overcast and
Yeah,
gray most of the time. Although yesterday we had a nice and sunny day, really
yeah.
frosty, cold, wonderful. But most of the
Ju-
times in winter, it's
Just
gray.
rub it in, rub it in. The weather
Yeah.
here has been rubbish. Yeah, really, really nice to have you here and be able to chat to you. Get to know you a little bit better. So thanks for your time. Um, so Yeah, first things first. So, do you want to maybe introduce yourself to our viewers? I mean, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah. That's the same question I ask myself each day. But no, so there's a ton of things I could talk about, but I try to make it brief so it doesn't become a 2 hour
Sure.
long video here. Um, uh, I started playing taiko in 2001 when I started learning Japanese and like being interested in Japan. And I met people in the university who wanted to play taiko. So we turned out to be the first taiko group in Hamburg at that time, actually. And a few years later, I went to Japan and went to a school called Tao Dojo that is led by a quite popular group called Goku. And they were known for their very unconventional taiko style. So very modern, groovy, polyrhythmic. It's kind of complex, but not in a very like technical or brainy sense, but more just musically a lot of stuff happening and polyrhythms and still very very like accessible in a certain way. Um, and I became a member of the dojo there and enjoyed playing that style very much, which was very, I would say, very quite loose, quite open, quite creative. Not saying that other taiko styles cannot be that, but
Yeah.
this style has a strong emphasis on this kind of movement, also fast accented patterns that I didn't play that much before when I was playing with my first group. After that, the time almost 1.5 years that I spent in Japan, came back to Hamburg and started my taiko school here called Kion Dojo. And I've been teaching here since then, since 2006. And also in the last 5 years, I've been a member of a band called Taiko Bastards, which the name says it, you
I think
know.
everybody in Europe knows who they are. Knows the
Yeah,
Taiko
so
Bastards, a very
yeah,
creative group.
yeah, and we've put quite a few videos out on the internet, especially in lockdown times.
So tell me a little bit about Taiko Bastard. So I first encountered Taiko Bastard during the COVID lockdown. Is that when you guys started, or were you already kind of together
Yeah, we
before
were
then?
just started going the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and we had a concert planned for April in 2020, and obviously that couldn't happen. So what could we do instead? So we figured out we would just record videos and like within almost within the regulations we had of
Yeah, yeah.
what we could do at that time. And yeah, so that was our first maybe 2 years or so. We did these collaborations with some quite interesting uh, roster of people from all over the world for a few videos we did. And we're not a super active band right now. We have like times we meet because one of our members is from Belgium. That's Steven Cools, and the other three live in Hamburg, and we are quite busy, so we can't like rehearse regularly. But when we get together, we like do community pieces also that Jonas wrote. Jonas is quite a creative taiko guy. He's just working on a taiko book. He's publishing very soon about composition.
We had
Uh,
we had Jonas last year, and
yeah,
his workshops went really well. They were really popular.
yeah. So the taiko masters for me are a group that uh, combines stuff that I did before taiko when I had my band and I was like writing music also and being quite creative and bringing that together with taiko and with a kind of a band feeling. Not so much a
Mhm.
taiko group feeling, but more these four people, very crazy, very, you know,
Yeah,
sometimes,
very out there.
yeah. But also like great stage personas with a
Yeah,
great energy, and that's fun to just play with them. And yeah, so that's
yeah,
Taiko
good.
Masters in a very short description. Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to your to your dojo and your style. So you know, it's not a style I'm deeply familiar with. Obviously, I've watched lots of videos of Goku. They're amazing. Amazing group to watch. I've
Hmm.
never had the opportunity to see them live, but I would love to be at a music festival watching them. Is the kind of stuff that I'd love to have the opportunity. But so and to me, from as an outsider, the main characteristics I would say visually and musically, obviously all these kind of like you're talking about the rhythmic layers, but also the kind of visual element. Everybody
Hmm.
moves a lot. I mean, what would you say are the kind of distinctive characteristics,
Yeah.
that, or is there others, or
So unfortunately, like Goku weren't able to come on the European tours as they were used to do for many years.
Mhm.
Since 6, 7 years, I think they're not were not able to come anymore. Um, but so seeing them live is the best way you can
Yeah,
experience it. Of course, obviously
I
for
can
taiko,
imagine it just looks amazing.
Yeah, yeah. But um, it's it's the how to describe the cool. I mean, it's just oh, for one is the openness uh, to leave expectations out of how taiko should sound and look like, and then just start from scratch. What they basically did, like almost 30 years ago when they started. Um, but then also trying to recreate something that Kaoli thinks is Kaoli is the leader of Goku and Tao Dojo, trying to recreate something that's very ancient and very goes even beyond what or before what people think of like Japanese tradition. It's very
Mhm.
ancient and like maybe tribal kind of get
Yeah,
together
it's got
and
that
playing.
vibe. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So um, and musically speaking, that means that they have a very organic way of moving and kind of tribal kind of feel in the group, but still open to everyone who wants to join. So you can think tribal, that word can mean like very negative
Yeah,
associations
yeah, yeah.
also these days, like politically, but it's in a very positive and very open, very, very
Hmm.
wonderful sense when you get there and you just are very welcome to join the sessions and the dojo. And musically speaking, I enjoy a lot the the groove, of course, the thing that makes you move when you play. Also, while you play, we move a lot, we jump, and we like keep the beat
Uh-huh.
while we play. Um, and they use a lot of sets also, so to create melody and like in the sound, it's can be a very deep sound because it has many layers, but also most people are playing more than one drum so
Hmm.
you can create melody on the drums. Yeah, that's a yeah, yeah. That was described Goku, and there's many more descriptions I could give this maybe for now.
How
That's
do you
enough. Yeah.
describe music? How do you describe an art form?
Yeah,
That's kind of
exactly,
difficult, right?
exactly. Yeah,
And
very
and
difficult.
so when you joined Tao Dojo, in Japan, I mean, was Kaoli your teacher, one of your teachers. What's your relationship with her? Because you seem to, do you still learn from her? Are you still in touch? Do you,
Oh yes, we just had Cowley in Europe in November and beginning of December
okay.
of last year,
Hmm.
which was the first time after 4 years that she came over because yeah, we had to like get back together in many respects. And we did 3 concerts with her. We went to Italy and collaborated with Sambiki Taiko Chiara. Some
Hmm.
people might know her, which was really a fun, great concert to do. We did a concert near Düsseldorf in Germany with a group there, local group called Groove Company, and we did one more concert here in Hamburg in our base. And she came over with 2 of her members and 2 of her managers of her group, and they have a great energy, and it's just like when they come, like my group when we play together with her, they just uh, it gets onto a new level of playing and expressing on stage, and it's just great fun to experience how they manage to get people going and just show themselves on stage and be more open to just because Northern Germans, we are quite cool in our you know expression. We're not like the Italians, for example,
Sure,
or
sure.
I don't know about Scottish and English people. What's the difference here? But anyways, uh,
Scottish are warm and a bit nutty.
to okay, so to make for the weather, maybe to
Yeah.
in exchange. Okay, I see. Well, anyways, um, yeah. So that was just great to see because it's for Kaoli, a message that she gives out is just to show yourself when you
Mm,
when you play taiko and be yourself.
hmm.
Sounds maybe a little bit like a phrase that's used very often, and what
Yep.
does it actually mean? But you can express this on stage when you play taiko, and that's what she teaches. Um, yeah, um, I try to also convey that when I teach taiko. But also I'm on this at the same time I'm not Kaoli, and I also try to develop my own taiko, and I have my way of teaching, which is more rooted in my musical background and my love for music and also groove and rhythm, and so I have my own emphasis also.
Hmm.
But that the taiko style I learned is that taiko style from Goku and Tao in Tokyo, and that influences me a lot, of course. Yeah.
So your style, the Kion Dojo style, I think I've heard it called groove taiko as well. Is
Mhm.
that is that is that would you say that's a correct term or you know?
Well, nobody ever put a label on this style of taiko. So, but in order to describe things, you need labels sometimes. So we can call it groove taiko. Yes.
So groove is a big emphasis, of your style, you'd say.
Yeah, because when we play, we want to be able to feel the groove, and that means often means the pulse that is going on underneath the music that you're playing, and you can stomp it with your heel, or you really your body's moving in that pulse, and it gives you a great sense of um, the grid, like very like technically speaking, the grid that's happening in the music, and then you can play your rhythm on top. It takes a while to get used to if you're not used to it. But some people, if you just play a simple dance, 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 dance kind of rhythm, then people can get it quite quickly, and then you can advance with the difficulty over time, and then you play a more kind of polyrhythmic, more offbeat kind of rhythm on top, and um, uh, it's fun to challenge yourself to stay in the pulse and then be able
Yeah,
to play different rhythms over the pulse also. Like a drummer on a kit would be playing with all 4 limbs,
yeah.
keep the beat on the bass drum, and then we have that going on,
Sure,
in the
sure.
body. Um,
So is there a lot of improvisation in your style, or is it mostly kind of scripted,
Yeah,
probably
also it's also part of it.
hmm
We play pieces that you can learn, and then you can learn step by step, like other taiko pieces also. So pieces are the foundation, but we like to improvise, and I also often do sessions where we just like have a certain structure there, but you can like throw your rhythm in there. Um, and we like to play solos on top of inside of pieces where we have like
hmm
a shimmy solo or something like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
going on. And so it's also improvised often. Yeah.
Opportunity for personal expression, I suppose, as well. As
Mm,
people play different solos.
yeah. And many of my people in my dojo who are at the beginning, they were quite hesitant to improvise or do a solo. And after a while now, some years of working on it and just not really working on it, but just trying it.
Yeah.
It's not so much that you can really teach it that much how to do it, but just getting exposed to it and trying out.
Uh,
And they got a lot better doing just improvised solos. Even
sometimes
with
sometimes is a mental but is quite is I was going to say it's as much a mental barrier as a skill barrier, but I would say actually it's probably more of a mental barrier than a skill barrier, because you can play a really basic, simple solo that sounds great. It doesn't have to be
Mhm.
complex, right?
Exactly. That's the
It's just
message.
it's just that it's just that notion that, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it, so
Yeah,
don't look at
exactly.
can't do it.
It's how you deliver it, and if you
Yeah,
can stand behind what you're playing and not be ashamed of, you know, oh no,
yeah, for
I
sure.
can't do this. Yeah, yeah, and that's exactly yeah.
Yeah, yeah, great. And do you do a lot of outside of your dojo? Do you do a lot of workshops, or do you travel a lot?
Yeah, I've been doing starting a workshop series that's called Groove Kicking, and was inspired by the first ETC that I went to, European Tiger Conference in 2016, and I thought, okay, this is actually quite cool because with my taiko style, I was a little bit like a alien in the taiko community, and for
Yeah.
many years I thought, there's not really a connection where we can connect. And then in the ETC, I experienced, well, actually, um, yeah, there are similarities, and there are things we can connect, and there's things that I teach that other people in the community can also benefit of.
Mhm.
So I thought, okay, let's try this out, and I'll make a workshop for a weekend. And this workshop series has been going on now for I think 8 years or so, and it's called Groove Cooking. And people from sometimes from outside of Germany also come to the workshops in Hamburg for a weekend, and we have all sorts of topics. Sometimes it's a piece that I teach. Where people want to learn it. And now, actually, next weekend we're doing a more creative kind of weekend where we work on improvisation, but also arranging a piece within the group. So it's not like I arrange it here. Group, this is the piece and learn it, but it's together with the group. We want to start like playing around with the patterns and combining them in certain ways, and yeah, creating our own piece on that weekend. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what's just right coming up next weekend. Yeah,
Oh, that sounds brilliant. Yeah. So you're
yeah,
doing that next weekend?
yeah. Just
Yeah. Okay. Oh
coming
man,
up. Yeah,
it's a bit too short notice. It sounds really interesting.
yeah. Just too short to book a trip and come over.
Yeah, I know, right? But let us know of the next one. It'll be. It sounds. Yeah, it sounds like a really fun experience, actually.
Hmm.
And I mean, outside as well. Do you travel? I think you were telling me earlier you've been to the UK before.
Yeah, I went to the UK last November together with Kaori Shiozawa. She's a taiko player who currently lives in Portugal, in
Mm-hmm.
Lisbon. She's also been playing with Tao Dojo in Tokyo, same school I went to for many years. And so we play very similar taiko style. We went to Wales, I did workshop there, and we also went to Exeter to not Exodus, the Taiko Center in Newton Abbot, Taiko Southwest. I
Oh
think
yes, yes,
that's
yes.
what they're called now. Also did two workshops there. And that was great fun because it's been many years that I went to the UK, and so we could reconnect with many people there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, and I've been teaching in other parts of Germany, in Düsseldorf and Köln, which is actually not that far apart, but there are two groups there that I teach and that enjoy this kind of taiko very much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've been doing some workshops in all kinds of several places around Europe. Not it's coming back a little bit now, but traveling is more expensive. It's a bit more
Yeah,
different than it used to be until like 2020. Then I was
yeah,
doing
yeah.
much more than right now. But when I get the opportunity to do it, then I'm really grateful and it's a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, do you know that that was one of the kind of motivations as well when we started the festival.
Mm,
You know, we used to have the UK Taiko Festival, and then after that there was the ETC, and then there was a period when we felt kind of, you know, and those were really obviously amazing, inspiring events. I mean, you were talking about ETC, you know, so many people, you know, still talk about ETC as a kind of, you know, groundbreaking thing, you know, for the European taiko community. You know, so many people met there, so many people connected, you know, met, you know, made friends, you know, people found common ground. Like last year I was talking to someone and they were saying, you know, yeah, you know, I went to a workshop and then I realized that actually this person's style from a completely different country and my style were the same, and we actually shared the same teacher and all this kind of
mm.
stuff. You know,
Yeah,
it's just amazing, and we found that really inspiring. You know, and it was also the kind of thing where we need more of that, and we want that, and you know, we want people to come to Scotland because we're here, obviously. You know, so let's have a go. And it's just been amazing. You know, the you know, the response we've had so far, really humbled, you know, with all the people that are kind of saying, hey, I want to come and teach a workshop like yourself, you know. So we're really
yeah.
really grateful for that. And this is going to be your first workshop in Scotland, then your first time in
Yes,
Scotland.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So and I don't think we've ever had a Tawu style. Let's call it Tawu style, right? Okay,
Mm,
for lack of a better definition, a Tawu style workshop in Scotland. So that's really exciting, and I
yeah,
suppose really really groundbreaking. But on that, I suppose maybe on that, um, you know, on that notion, you know, do you want to maybe tell us a little bit about what you're going to do at the Scottish Taiko Festival? What kind of what's the workshops you're going to do? What do they involve? Who are they for?
yeah.
Tell us.
Um, so there's one workshop that I'm offering, and the title I chose for that workshop is the Techno Jazz Taiko Beat.
Very cool title. Very cool title.
Um, so as I did talked about before a little bit, the pulse that's going underneath everything you're playing, basically, unless you're playing something that's very like open or just a drum roll or something that's has no beat. But actually every piece, 99% of the time, you have some kind of pulse that's actually going on, even if it's not played specifically clearly in the piece, but there's always this pulse going on. So this workshop is based on that and on pulse, first of sensing it and just playing it, and then we can add some offbeats in there. And offbeats, some people might be afraid if they hear offbeats because, oh, that's yeah, it's difficult to feel and to play. But I think it's we can just have a simple approach to play some offbeats
Hmm.
and keep the pulse underneath that. And then we can add in just some simple polyrhythms and see if we can still keep that pulse going. And then play around with the pulse, but also several layers of rhythms on top. Um, but not only as a technical exercise, but also connected to a groove that you can play
Yeah.
actually that can turn into a piece later. So that's the first workshop that I'm offering called the
So
Techno Jazz Taiko Beat. Yeah.
so
Mhm.
about that workshop is really interesting actually hearing you talk about that because straight away in my mind I'm thinking that sounds really interesting because in Japanese well, Japanese music in general, I suppose, they love syncopation and they love, really feeling that offbeat,
Mhm.
and quite often in a lot of jazz it's the same thing, it's really the offbeat that makes it groovy because if everything's on the beat, it's very dull, right? And it's a
Mhm.
little bit different, I suppose, in kind of Western rock and pop music. But so that sounds so. As you were describing that, I thought, yeah, well, actually, that sounds really interesting.
Mhm.
you know, you know.
Yeah, that's what makes turns. That's also what creates groove,
Yeah.
and because uh, it's it's also the beats that you don't play, uh,
Mhm.
or that the beats that you leave out, the hits on the drum that you leave out. That this is actually because you're you then sense, oh, there's a pulse. It's not being played, but there it is, and then that creates musical tension. That creates makes it fun to listen to and more exciting
Mhm.
to listen to. Just leaving out a certain hit, and it's also part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Mm.
yeah, do you want to tell us about your other workshop? Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, no, yeah, that's a good question. And the other workshop is called Breathe the Taiko. So this one is more focused a little bit on movement and using your body in a natural way for playing taiko. And you can imagine every movement in your body going on when playing taiko as a sort of breath. So not only the actual breathing in your lungs, but every movement that you're doing. And that can be a great image to use to move in a way that's quite natural and that gets more into a flowing motion and not so much a hard hitting or like tackle playing like wood chopping kind of dong, 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 dong motion, but that is more um, like your body actually wants to move in a certain sense that is actually meant to move maybe also. And so we'll work on that and start with some very slow hits in that movement and like sensing how you move, um, and then seeing how you can get relaxation in your playing and get this kind of breath idea into your playing. That's what the other workshop is about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, it's really interesting because a lot of, you know, mm, how should I put this? In a lot of taiko groups, or in a lot of taiko styles, let's say, um, you know, you get wonderful variety within the taiko community, right? A Taoist style is obviously can be very distinctive, and then there's groups like you say that, or even sometimes just pieces that are very kind of martial, very very strong and on your face kind of thing, and then
Which can
lots of
still have a good technique with that. Yeah,
absolutely,
not saying yeah, but
absolutely, and
yeah.
that's when done well, that in itself can be amazing,
Mm.
and lots of groups that kind of place a lot more of emphasis on the kind of martial arts kind of overlap or backing from taiko, others more on kind of different styles of movement, and to me personally, when I watch Tao style, I always think about yoga. I don't know why,
Hmm.
but my wife is a yoga instructor,
Hmm.
and for a number of years she was very much interested in a style of yoga called Scaravelli yoga, which was an Italian lady called Vanda Scaravelli, I think. And it's a very specific. It's not yoga as you normally see it, and it's not like about holding positions. Down
Mhm.
dog or whatever. It's
Mhm.
about the movement in between the positions.
Yeah.
And I remember going to a couple of workshops, and we were doing all these kind of weird movements and stuff to try and get into the positions, uh, and it was great. It was great because sometimes I don't know, sometimes yoga for me is very stiff, like you're trying to hold a position, you're like, oh my god, I can't breathe, because you're stiff or whatever, you're not used to it, right? But in Scaravelli yoga is all that kind of trying to find your own, not copying the teacher, but trying to find your own way there. So as
Mhm.
you're describing Tao style there, I'm thinking, wow, it's the same principle, really. It's about, obviously you've got the rhythms and all this kind of stuff, but it's also about self-expression and individual movements. I don't know if
Mhm.
that's right to say or not.
Yeah, 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 it is. Oh, that's a good, nice um, comparison, or just mentioning yoga
Yeah.
along with his taiko style. Yeah, it makes total sense. And you can also think of Tai Chi,
Hmm.
which is slow and very natural movements, like water flowing or something, like images of natural images from nature. That comes from Cowley first being an what's it in English, acupuncturist.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Her first training was acupuncturist before she actually discovered taiko, and she had never played an instrument before. So she had learned all these ideas from Chinese medicine and like
Uh-huh.
Taoism and about flow and um, I'm using your body, using the flow of energy in your body to do a natural movement. And when she started playing taiko, those ideas came into taiko, and it might sound for some people like an esoteric idea or something like that, but it's a very practical way of moving. And she's a fantastic drummer. Also, if you would just look at her from a Western technical musical perspective, she's just a fantastic musician. Also, but she combines that with that idea of moving very naturally with that background that she has, which is quite unique, I think, and also in the taiko world. Yeah, but there are all over the world. There are people who would like enjoy that kind of taiko. Also within Japan, there are several groups that learn from Kaoli.
Uh-huh.
Um, and that is yeah, that's her style of playing, and I'm not quite that flexible, also not quite as small and light as Cowley, so when I play it doesn't look like the same way, but it doesn't matter actually how big or how small you are or how athletic you are. Everybody can benefit from like these kind of exercises and this kind of idea of how to move. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. Everybody's bodies is different, and everybody will look different, when doing the same thing, right?
Yes.
I
Yes.
I remember, I was doing years ago. I was in Japan, and I was doing some workshops with Motofuji Sensei, and his style is very different, right? Obviously, and he's like very much into rock and heavy metal and stuff.
Hmm.
But and but also his music is very technical. But anyway, so we're kind of doing. I can't remember what workshops we are doing, but I'll never forget one thing he said to us. He said, "Don't copy me. Why are you trying to copy me? Don't copy me. Do it, but do it your own way. Don't copy me." And I was thinking, what do you mean? Because what? How can I do it my own way without copying? And then it kind of started making sense. But it was that very much that notion of, yeah, do these, but don't copy me.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 That's because we just want all the input from the teacher, and we want to just
Yeah.
learn and learn and learn, and but actually coming up with some own movements or your own personal way of moving takes some more effort than just
Yeah.
receiving all the input, and yeah, that's great advice. Don't copy me.
Do it, but don't copy me.
Yeah, do it, but yes, but no.
Yeah, yeah. So, Ingmar, you've probably had a quick look at the Scottish Festival program. Anything in particular you're excited about, or just a little bit of everything, and anything you find a bit puzzling, or I don't know.
I'm very honest. I had a very brief look, and I will have to have another more thorough look on the program. But generally speaking, I'm very looking forward to just meet a lot of people that I've met at previous events, but also a lot of new people, and just have experience people playing in very different ways and connecting again, and yeah, just being inspired for the stuff that I do, and maybe starting new projects maybe within the taiko community by meeting new people. That would be quite nice to experience. But just getting together and playing drums is also just a wonderful thing. So not to set my expectations too
Yeah.
high, just saying let's have fun. Let's have a great weekend together.
at,
Yeah,
at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Just get
yeah,
together. No matter what you're doing, just get together and just play some drums, right? And
yeah.
we're just doing our best to make the program as varied and interesting as possible. But that's even though that's important, that kind of ends up being almost secondary as well, isn't it? Because it's like
Hmm.
the community feeling and hanging out, you know, and being
Yeah,
together that matters, isn't it? You know, it
I
just gives
know.
us a purpose to get together. It gives us a reason to get together.
I know. On the Sunday evening, I will be just super exhausted and super tired, but in a very positive.
After the Kaylee, right? So we're closing the festival with a Kaylee. Do you know what a Kaylee is?
Oh, I heard it. Yeah, Jan has told me about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right. Good. So we're not going to say any more because if people want to find out what Kaylee is, they need to come to Scotland or to the
Hmm.
festival or
Yeah,
both, right? But let's just say it's a lot of fun.
yeah.
It's just a way to kind of let your hair down and just yeah, finish the festival with a big bang.
Super cool. Looking forward to that a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, thank you so much for talking to us and for your time. And it's been really nice to learn a little bit more about you and about your style and what you're going to do at the festival. And yeah, we're super stoked, to have you. And it's really nice as well because it does add a total new dimension to the festival program because our aim is always to try and make it as varied as possible. So there's always something there for everybody, and it's really exciting to have you because you do add that kind of extra element to the to the program. And yeah, really looking forward to it and looking forward to your workshop. So thank you,
Thank you for
and
having me. Yeah,
we'll see you in April.
yeah.
All right,
So, great fun to talk to you.
take care.
And
Mhm.
thank you again. And see you in April.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see you in April. Take care. Bye bye.
Yep. Bye bye.